Hello and welcome back to another happy hour. I'm Ryan Frink, creative director here at Backflip, and joining me as always, click, is my boy John Shoemaker. Say hey, John.
Hello, John.
How's it going? I see you've got
It's
your
going,
Christmas shirt on today.
it's going great. Well, actually, this one, I don't know. This one's got a lot. There's hearts down here.
Ah, it is
So,
thematic.
yeah, so I don't know. It was cold. I was looking for a sweatshirt, and there's not a lot of opportunities to wear this one.
Yeah, and you obviously can hit different. I mean, you could probably do Easter too.
I
So
think
you've
so.
got 3 different holidays with that shirt. So awesome. Enough about that. Let's get our guest in here. We're super excited to bring on our pal Ryan. And I want to say
It's
Dembroski,
me.
but I every time I spell it, I'm like, it's Dembroski, like bro.
Well, it's pronounced Dembroski.
Yeah.
We lost the W on Ellis Island. It just got vaporized. But
Just to hide your nationality, you're not Polish.
yeah, yeah, we just got rid of that one W. So Dembro though, like there's a lot of Ryans in the Milwaukee production community where I'm based, and so Dembro is appropriate. So that would Dembroski works.
Yeah, no, I like it, Dembro. And I mean, you're not a bro. You're a filmmaker. You're a, what did I have on here? Producer, filmmaker, pilot, YouTuber. I started
Yeah.
listening to some of your YouTube stuff too, and I am not particularly into piloting, but I love listening to you and like you go on
Oh,
these
thanks.
adventures. So that's definitely been fun over the last week as I've been doing that. But for those who don't know you, can you maybe give us an introduction?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, the very short version is, I mean, I'm Ryan Dembroski, and I'm currently a freelance uh, executive producer. Is that a thing? Right now. Let's
Full
be honest.
stack.
It's
You're a
COVID.
full stack producer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do all of it. No, right now it's COVID, it's production, and COVID got me loose from my my big time agency job. So right now it's a port in any storm or any port in a storm. So I'm doing everything right now. But yeah, basically a producer. I'm a producer. We went to college together. We're going to talk about that.
I know, that's so cool. I think who was it? We were talking to Mike Michael Graff. And
Yes.
we're like, who would be cool to talk to that you think it'd be fun for us to talk to? And he had one other name that I didn't know, and then your name came up, and I was super stoked. We probably haven't talked in a long time, but
It is. It's been
just to kind of
I've missed
circle
you.
back together. Yeah, no, likewise. Just to circle back together after so long, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about it, right? And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but like we all had this like mutual experience at UW, and I think we've relatively like you and I could have done a better job of staying in contact, but
Oh,
I think
yeah.
in general, like we've all kind of kept tabs on each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to watch all these paths diverge and then kind of all come back or reconvene and see what we've all kind of done, I think everyone's been pretty successful, which is cool.
I think in your younger days, you're keeping tabs, just trying to make sure that nobody's getting too far ahead of where you are. And then later, when you gain some confidence, you're like, okay, we can talk to each other again.
There is that there's that competitive thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely felt. I've been doing a lot of work with. I don't know if you remember. Her name's Lynn Fraser, but Lynn Wisniewski was in film school with us as well, and we did not hang out very much in film school, partially because I was like competitive with her. I was like, oh, she's good. I don't want to be on it. I don't want to work with her. And now we're working together a lot in Milwaukee, which we can talk about more as we chat. But and she's a delight, and we're like perfect for each other in terms of like collaborators. And I was like, man, what a stupid thing that was. She's like a really good friend now, and we like totally tear it up professionally together. And like, back in school, it's like, I don't like that Lynn. She's too good.
Yeah.
Her ideas are too good.
John may not be able to commiserate, but I feel like I probably had issue with ego and not even like I'm the best, but like, no, I don't want you to succeed because I want me to succeed. You know,
right.
If there's going to be one of us, it's going to be me, you know, not thinking very well that, no, it should be all of us. And if we work together, it could be all of us.
We have the teachers to blame for that, or the system.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fight
that's
the system.
true.
When they set things on the bell curve, that's just a recipe
Right.
for, they're like, well, if somebody else succeeds, it means that you're going to do worse. There's no room for more than one person succeeding here.
That's true. And yeah, and then separately, the other thing I think that's happening now is there's not, like, no one's competing for a time slot anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think when we were all in school, it's like, oh, like only I, you know, if you want to like be super successful, like for me, it's like television or a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you know, all that stuff happens in like these, it's all competitive. Well, now it's like, you know, we're going to talk about YouTube later.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no time slot. I don't know, like, watch someone else's thing, then watch my thing. I don't care. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and to that point, it's not like there's limited resources in the same way. Kind of like you're saying, like we could just go make a TV show and be like, all right, how do we shop this around? You know, how do we get this? If we make a pilot, how do we get it made? Or if we can produce it locally, like where do we want to go? Do we think we can go somewhere with it? Instead of like, you know, and this is us being in the Midwest. And I think at this point we don't have to justify it anymore. Like, you know, why didn't you go to LA? Why didn't you go to LA? You know, for me and John, we started the business and we both started families out here. And that's a lot of momentum on something. And we're like, well, you know, this is working, so we're not going to go out there. But we do have contacts and we know lots of people who go out there and put their time in and get to where they want to be. And that's been fantastic. And I'm so happy that people have done that. But now I feel like after, you know, since 2008, kind of democratization of filmmaking and creative with the 5D Mark II, we've really seen that, you know, you could be almost anywhere. We can create great content anywhere. And yeah, now you're seeing people leave LA for various reasons as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was seeing that. So after Madison, right, I went to did a couple feature things, and then, as you know, as like a PA, right? Mm-hmm. And then went to Milwaukee, was like splitting time, and the Milwaukee production community just kind of like accepted me and brought me in. And I remember, you know, at that time, like we were still shooting on 35 millimeter on TV commercials. Like it was still like, it's like more like Hollywood, like old school, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I had started working for a commercial production company called Purple Onion. And Purple Onion, there's a guy there, man, I'm just like, it's just names that no one maybe knows as they watch this. But there's a producer that you guys should have him on. Andy Gorzalski was a producer that was there, and he had just come from being in LA, managing one of the animation houses that had worked on Spider-Man.
Oh wow!
And so he's like doing this amazing like 3D animation stuff, managing I think it was Ring of Fire is the name of the company that he was at. Like, so he's doing that, and then he was like, you know what? Like back home, and I don't want to tell his story because I don't know the decisions in that. But for me, it was really validating in the moment, because I was like, well, I should go to LA, right? And maybe you go to LA, visit. You know, we've got a lot of alums that are out there like tearing it up. And of course they're like, come out, it's amazing. But then to be there, like, you know, working on commercial sets here in Milwaukee, cost of living is lower, all that. And to have someone who's like really succeeding out there come here and like reestablish roots here was like I needed that. I don't know if Andy knows that. I was like, oh, that's good. I'll stay here. Thanks, Andy. Well, sorry, everybody else.
We've had this kind of conversation a few different times about, you know, the differences of people we know who went out to LA. There's just a real quick, I'll shorten the story to very, very short, you know, example of an editor I worked under who compared himself to another classmate who went out to LA. That they both worked, 10 years in the industry. The friend was still doing a lot of like lower level assisting stuff. And then this guy, working in the Midwest, had edited some national Hyundai spots and some other, bigger things. And he was just kind of comparing the fact that like he's like, my trajectory may not end up as high or may not have like those potential, things, but my short term, I'm still able to do a lot of great stuff. But I was thinking beyond that storyline that I wonder if it's not like we talk a lot about it in film and video production, but I mean, it's probably true in many different industries. There's just a difference between it's like you need to choose where you want to live your life, potentially raise your family, be around friends or whatever.
Right.
And in that, you're making decisions about the market that you are choosing to work in. So whether you're in, production, film production, or that, I mean, that's probably true in like software development. You could go out to different places that would be better. Financial stuff. I don't know. I don't know what other people do for work, apparently.
What other industries are there besides this one?
Well, and now, just being positioned remote and technologically sound for production and so our agency, we do digital and web and other stuff too. But, March hit and production went down because people couldn't go together. But we had all that other stuff to lean back on and do the editing. And we're in the Midwest, I know people who struggled all over the country with that, and people who left, California or New York for various reasons and have come home and are still continuing to do their awesome, great jobs because remote is it's just a cultural thing now. And so I think you'll find that more and more. And, you like to say we're ahead of the curve, but, it's just a lot of circumstances as well that kind of bring us to where we are. And I mean, we'll just do awesome things wherever we go. It doesn't really matter.
Dude, I totally agree. And I think, obviously COVID without like, and I don't know if this is the intended conversation arc, but what just occurred to me was
we can go anywhere.
Oh, I like it. I like the opportunity here. So, I mean, the other thing I'm noticing on here is I'm a little short here. Gotta be a little higher. Like my head is like,
it's a power move.
Is that better?
Yeah,
you guys are
that's
just a little bit.
That's really good. No, you're great.
So sorry. So we're talking about COVID. So it's interesting, and I think I don't know. They fired me, so I guess I don't care what they think if I tell the story. So I just a really quick overview. Like went on to was PAing, became a production coordinator, producer, whatever, Milwaukee. Did the whole worked at a documentary production company for a while called About Face Media, doing like stuff for brands. Was there for 10 years, and then went to BVK. Big ad agency in Milwaukee. They're like one of the top 100 ad agencies in terms of size and billings and stuff like that. Amazing people to work with. Tons of just like super like A-class work, right? Like doing work that would be like, I never got to work on it, but one of the producers there was doing stuff for Wyoming, and she'd be gone for 3 weeks in the mountains, and she'd send a text, and it's like a picture of her with like a helicopter with like, the Cineflex on the front or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, we're like doing real stuff here, right?
That's legit.
So yeah. She said she hated helicopter shoots, by the way. And I was like, how is that possible? I guess it's just because the money is like just evaporating, right?
Sure.
Every creative director is sitting there and like debating about the frame, and you're like, okay, but like literally every minute is like $1,000. Like, let's make a decision. Sorry. Anyway, so I'll just flex for her on that. So anyway, like COVID happens, right? And you saw this really interesting thing happen where there were 9 producers, depending on how you count it, like 9 producers there.
Sure.
Some people were editing, some people were like shooting too. and this huge production team managing all this production. And we all went from shooting all the time to now animating, editing, like repurposing footage, whatever.
Right.
And then after that, right, we get a little bit further into the pandemic. It's like, well, now how can we shoot appropriately or safely?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like we were, doing things like this, where we'd have like people, we did a shoot for a client on a sound stage, and we were able to do it, safely, where people were distanced and masked and tested and all that stuff. And then the whole creative team at the agency sat at their dining room tables,
Mm-hmm.
like zooming in and watching, camera feeds and stuff. And it was super meaningful, and we were able to still do it. My kind of like takeaway then, and I think this is what you said earlier is what made me think of this, that maybe shouldn't change. Right? Like as an agency producer, the amount of money I was putting into flying all the people there,
Mm-hmm.
Hotel stays, their time, right? Just you have to bill their time just sitting on a plane, right? All that stuff,
right?
All that money suddenly could go to, one, benefiting the agency's bottom line and making them slightly more profitable, but two, could be redirected into a more valuable product for the agency, right? So like it's like, well, now instead of having a $100,000 budget for this shoot, we have a $120,000 budget because these 8 people don't need to go and sit there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that part of what you're saying about us being able to like go anywhere, work from anywhere, even in production, right? There's always that like one moment where we at least need some people to be there in person.
Right.
There's benefit there that I'm excited to have people out on set and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think separately now we know more about COVID and the virus. And I was on set for a couple of weeks. I can't say for what, doing location managing, like I said, any port in the storm, and really enjoyed it. But that crew was like finger prick blood tests every morning to make sure we were all safe. So like there's ways to do it, but I think separately we shouldn't forget all the like, if we need a silver lining to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't forget all the things that we learned and innovated in ways that we kept the doors open, because those are ways we can still do things after this is done and be more efficient with our dollars, shoot cooler spots, whatever. Sorry, that was a huge soapbox.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
This is what we're here for.
That's a cool thing.
We're giving you the digital soapbox and to hang out. Before I reply, though, I did want to reiterate, this is a happy hour, so we want you to bring something enjoyable to drink. I know that you had mentioned that you were cooking something up. If you want to go and grab that, we can go through what we're drinking.
Wait, so you're drinking like real things?
Oh, we're drinking real things. Yeah, man. This is some tequila.
Okay, well, maybe I can hear you. Let's do this. It'll be really great television. Like I will disappear from my basement and I'll go get like something, but I'll listen. I won't be able to reply because the mic is right here, but I'll listen to whatever and I'll come back. We'll time me. Ready?
This will be great. And
all right, right here I go. All right.
Go. I do have a watch, so we'll see how long this takes.
He's gonna show up like in the background of each of our videos.
Yes, he just ran from Milwaukee. It's amazing. All right, what do you got? What are you drinking, John?
Okay, I haven't started drinking it yet, but I just went Snowdrift Porter, Leinenkugels.
That's a tasty one.
It just felt like that kind of day. See, I'm wearing a sweater, sweatshirt, and it's like minus something outside. Well, maybe it's 3, and Snowdrift Porter. I was like, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's super thematic. I do like that one too. There's a couple Lineys that I don't like, but Liney continues to surprise me even after their huge success, their sellout, or like I think they still make really good beer, and that's one of those that I really enjoy during winter.
Vanilla can get a little too sweet. I mean, it's good for one. It's not great for two.
Well, it's kind of like the Carbon 4 Poco Loco, the horchata. Like it's super flavorful, super good. I can't drink more than a little bit, more than one. So
I grabbed a snack too.
I was gonna say we only made it through one. That was pretty great.
I went really fast. I poured fast though, and it's like now I have too much. That's like
Nice.
way too much bourbon for noon.
Yeah.
But
What do you got
anyway,
there? Why don't you share?
Just a little bullet,
Ooh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's a good staple. It's a classic. We had we were with a client on a shoot one time, and we were able to. It was half price night, so we got a Pappy Van Winkle, and we all shared it. It was one drink, and we all shared it. And then we compared
That's
it to.
never happening again.
We compared it to Bullet, and decided it was not worth 20 times the cost.
Mm.
Yeah, it was fun though.
This was a Costco purchase. Like it's literally like, I don't know, as big as the screen.
Yes.
I've been working on it for months.
Yeah. The best part about that too is like Costco has those brands, and also they just have their own brand of liquor, and we have some of that as well.
There's also something just really funny about getting anything that's super huge, because there's you feel like you have to explain it. I guess they're probably used to it at Costco because everything is like that, but you can't go through the checkout without being like,
it's not all for me.
This is for a while. It's going to take, this is for half a year. It's not a...
Yeah, it's like,
I'm having a party.
We'll see you next week.
I'm fine. I'm feeling fine. They're doing like, they're checking in with you at the... How is the pandemic being... Is it hard for you right now? Yeah, a little. But I'm fine.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they actually asked that question to people? The lines would take forever.
Yeah.
No. Like, do you see what's in my cart? I'm not fine. I'm battening down the hatches.
I got this 3 gallons of bourbon, and then also like Twinkies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a pallet of toilet paper.
I'm just gonna be pooping and drinking bourbon. That's all. That's the most important thing. If I can do those, we'll survive.
I'm gonna drink all this bourbon till I poop.
It'll be fast.
I don't know. Yeah.
So
man, this is devolving quickly.
No, this is my favorite. If we could just stay devolved, that would be great.
This also reminds me a lot of our conversations in film school.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost though, and you would know this too, even though, this silliness, this nonsense is kind of what can drive creativity. But let's be careful, because we get paid to work. And I went to Milwaukee for a year, and I know several people who went to Milwaukee, and they have the same stories. Like the people who excelled in the programs, got good grades in the programs, were those who were rolling around on the ground, licking their cat and holding the camera. What did Jordan's story of one of his classmates? What was it? It was like poop on celluloid or something. I don't know. It was something not very cerebral.
I don't remember that.
Just very experimental.
I remember being in like the final film class and being like, I really want to like go out with a bang, and then you're trying to like one up. There's like this one up, to go back, we were talking about before, this one-upsmanship about like, how extreme can I make the movie? Oh, you know what I should do is I should have someone get stabbed, and that'll make someone really sad, and then she'll try to kill herself, but someone will find him, but then he finds her, and then he punches some, like, it just gets like super like cliche student film.
But also it's like, this has never been done before.
Yeah, no one's ever made a movie about a sad girl. And
to be clear, these two stories that I was mentioning are from UW Milwaukee.
Oh,
where it's an experimental film school. And so
True.
Like I had several classes there. I was always trying to come to Madison, but there's actually a freeze. And so they're like, you can come in next semester, just not now. And I was like, well, I'll just do a year in Milwaukee. But I got out of there because I was like, no, I want to get paid to do this stuff. I don't want to do this stuff and just sit in my basement. I mean, I'm sitting in my basement just
I am also, in case no one noticed.
Yeah, I know. It looked really cool, and then you left, and then it looked very murdery. Like, this is where the murders happen.
There's like
all the tools.
It's like there's a glow. Oh, it's hard to do this. Like, look at the screen.
In
It's
reverse.
back. Nope. Nope. I can't. There's a globe. This is really hard.
Yeah.
Oh, this is here. This is the creepiest thing. I don't even know how that got back. like that. You're like, look at that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you put like a wig on it. I had like a luchador mask on it for in my office.
I'm going to be honest. You're
like,
not making it better.
No, it's super scary. So anyway.
This is where I put the faces.
Ryan Dembroski, professional producer. Why did they let you go during COVID, Ryan?
Yeah.
Was it because you were too murdery?
Yeah,
Anyway.
The clients were like, "Is that a face in that jar?" Like,
No.
no, that's a luchador mask. And then I see that you moved it out of the shot. Like you didn't put it back in the shot, you moved it out.
I didn't mean for it to be there. No, so this is my background for my YouTube show.
Yeah.
And I did not mean for it to be back there. I don't know how it got there. So,
that's awesome.
So I wonder I think my wife like goes and puts stuff back there to see if I like notice.
You know, and the funny thing too is I've watched several of your shows, and I think when you're traveling, those are the most fun and out and about. But the ones that I watched where you're podcasting like this, I did not notice the background at all. I was like, oh, that looks really, really great. That's a really great looking setup. I love the depth of field and the lighting, and it looks really great. I clearly did not inspect the background, but there you go.
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting, right? Like I think this goes back to a little side soapbox. Like, one of the hardest things for all of us to do as artists, right, is I think we self-censor a lot. And so I have this YouTube show about airplanes. I'm a pilot, whatever. Joke is like, how do you know if someone's a pilot? Like they'll tell you. So I just told you. It's in the lower third though. So, and I was making this show and it was like pretty successful, like for a baby show, like a baby YouTube show. Like it was opening up doors, even though I'd only made like 6 videos or 7 videos. But like we've got kids, young kids, and trying to balance a professional life and stuff. So I would like fits and starts, right? I'd be like, there's like 3 weeks of like content, and then I'd wait 6 months. Well, then you're never gonna grow, right?
Right.
So, what happened is that the pandemic happens, right? And I'm sitting in the I can't